Gun Channel 1943. It's me, Anchorman Will Craigmile. Sadly, my co-host will not be joining us today. He was struck by an unknown motorist on a moped. We're going to have a moment of silence. In other news, on August 31st, 1943, a white private told a Negro officer who had reprimanded him for not observing the ordinary military courtesy of a salute. If you would take your clothes off and lay them on the ground, I would salute them, but I would not salute anything that looks like you. The officer called a captain and told him of the incident. The captain said, "Well, Lieutenant, what do you want me to do about it?" The officer reported the matter to a major whom was serving the military immediately. The officer advised, "I would not make an issue out of the incident if I were you." The officer insisted on preferring a charge against the soldier. He was transferred for the post 3 days later. He was never notified the soldier would be tried in any charge. He would be fined $18 and restricted to the area for 30 days. In contrast to the above case, a Negro soldier on the post in this area committed a minor violation by driving 5 men in a Jeep for a distance of about 3/4 of a mile. A colonial saw him load up the vehicle and send a white corporal in a vehicle to chase him and get his name. The white soldier drew up and proceeded to get the information asked by the colonial. In the meantime, a Negro corporal witnessed the proceedings asked by the white corporal, "Why don't you mind your own business?" He was tried by a summary court and reduced to the grade of private, fined $12 per month and for 2 months, and restricted to the area for 30 days. He was more severely dealt with for arguing with the corporal than a white boy was dealt with for insulting a Negro officer.
This commercial is brought to you by Red Bull. It gives you wings.
Blacks were traditionally limited to mile assignments and banned altogether from the Marine Corps and Army. Air Force took great steps forward within the military training. Due to manpower constraints, blacks were needed in greater numbers for important assignments. By the end of the war, 700,000 black servicemen were enlisted, some serving in integrated training camps, and others alongside white sailors on ships. John, say Mark. Get out of here.
No. I'm gonna grab that. Zach. Still playing.
However, integration was not without its difficulties. At some integration army bases on Fort Dix, riots broke out with black protests having severe in the war. In 1941, the Army Corps brought African Americans from around the country to train at a flying school in Tuskegee, Alabama. As one pilot recalled, they recruited all-American athletes. They had mathematical geniuses. They had ministers, doctors, lawyers, farm boys, all down there trying to learn to fly. These men won fame as Tuskegee Airmen. With the establishment of the draft in 1940, thousands of African Americans lined up to join the armed forces. By the war's end, more than 1 million had served. They faced many hardships, beginning with their segregation training camps. They also were separated mess halls from the white troops and slept in separate barracks. Camps that had a single movie theater even made black trainees sit together in the last row. In an early build-up to war, the Marines and the Airmen Corps refused to take any African Americans. The Navy limited African American duties to cooking, clean rooms, shining shoes, and such mess man. Boyd USS Philadelphia sent a letter to a newspaper hoping to discourage other black men from joining the Navy. The Army accepted black GIs, but it excluded them from combat. The GIs served as segregation units led by white officers, often working in construction supply and other service groups. Black leaders pressed the government to end military discrimination. In time, the Army services gave more black soldiers the opportunity to engage in combat and become officers. Black leaders pressed the government to end military discrimination. In time, the Army services gave more black soldiers the opportunity to engage in combat and become officers. The Army Air Corps established its first black combat unit in 1941, known as the Tuskegee Airmen. The Tuskegee Airmen, a group of Army Air Corps pilots and support crews, established in 1941 as the first black combat unit. These pilots and the support crews showed that African Americans could handle the most demanding assignments. They served mainly to bombard escorts engaging in direct combat with German fighter planes. The Tuskegee Airmen gained the reputation of skill and courage. Shooting some 400 German attackers out of the sky, they were the only fighter group to never lose a bomber to enemy plane.